Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio in Matawan, New Jersey. It is Sturch, it is Gooch, it is Wrestling Rob over there behind the proverbial glass, and we're coming to you chopping it up from the Cabinet Creations Sports Desk. Hope everybody's doing all right. How you feeling today, bro? You good?
Feeling well.
Feeling good. Rob, you good over there?
Another day.
New podcast host, Rob, that is.
Semi-host.
No, you're a host. You can call yourself a host, ladies and gentlemen, in case you were wondering. A little bit of a facelift over on the Chop Sports Fight Factory is turned completely pro wrestling, and I guess they'll spark. Like, are they going to sprinkle in some
little
UFC?
bit of a facelift? We're calling. I feel like it's been a full body makeover the last 4 months. With
we're just trying. We're going through the motions with this with this podcast in particular, trying to grow it the best of its ability. So we think that there's no better two hosts than Rob and Tommy to get it done and to start talking wrestling. So if you want to do that, it's available in podcast form right now. Next week, I think they're going to get back to show you their beautiful faces, and they'll be on camera. So
I did sit in for the show. Very, very good rapport for them being the first time doing a show together. Tommy's been leading a podcast for a long time, so it's not his first rodeo. But Rob, I want to tip my hat.
Rodeo.
You did a excellent job yesterday. So guys, go check out Rob on the Chop Sports Fight Factory.
Also, a good morning to Bailey, a good morning to Scoop. You can also check out Scoop, which, by the way, added some flavor to the Cross Court cast. That's available too on the podcast network, and that is with Kyle Kerms and AJ Bascom. Both joined his show last night. Scoop, if you don't come into the studio for your next recording, I'll just kill you. It's over. Your vitals will be, and
or at least turn your mic on.
Yeah, for the love of God. Like I'm watching this thing, I'm editing this thing, and I'm just like, this sounds like he got thrown into a cup, and just like all of a sudden, like, hello, everybody, who's there? You know, it's just like do the podcast. We have a studio here. You're always willing to come in. You're actually funny. Scoop's gonna let me know later on today. Scoop might be joining me tomorrow, and Rob will be over there as well for the daily, as Gooch will be on hiatus. I mean, I wouldn't call it a hiatus.
One day
You're out
hiatus.
of the day.
Yeah, I got an appointment.
You got an appointment. You got things to do, people to see, place to go. All right. So if you want to support Chop Sports, if you're watching this video right now, you can head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Chop Sports. That's the way that you can keep the lights on. They will shut them off probably today at some point. So $3, $5, $10 is the way to select a membership level over at patreon.com/Chop Sports. We want to thank everybody who is continuously coming back on the Patreon month in and month out. I'm sure you get billed and you're like, well, is this going to be the month that I say, you all right there, bro? Is this going to be the month that I say, yeah, you know what? I'm done. I'll just stop supporting. Or are you going to continue to support? So we thank you guys for sticking with us. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should be, if you're on Facebook right now watching us, please just click the link. Join us on YouTube, and it'll help us out there, because then you can like the video and it'll help with the search. And yesterday, a little bit of a facelift, speaking of facelifts, to the YouTube page, as we started now adding show highlights. So things that you see on the show on the regular, we'll be able to break down and kind of chop up
content in spurts, so you don't have to sit through a full hour if you miss the live.
We got Jack's coming in saying, what's up, fellas? Jack, don't get it twisted, bro. I am well aware it is your birthday, my friend. Happy birthday to Jack. I saw it, and the only reason why I know that is because Facebook just reminds you time in and time again. Chris Payne coming in saying good morning as well. Chris, man, I tried to back you up with that tweet. I don't remember the guy's name, but he had a power ranking system thing where he put the Jets at 31st. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what are we watching here? Like, who is this guy? And why did he put the Jets 31st? After all the stuff they did throughout the entire offseason to improve their team, they're still putting them behind the guys like the Jaguars and the Commanders and the Lions. And I'm just like, dude, what are we doing here? But I digress with that. I have no
Jets
idea.
Picked fourth. They haven't done much in terms of
show me
play
league
to be any. I'm not going to sit here and complain that a team that finished 29th is ranked 31st. They got to show it on the field. They have a very young team, but we'll talk a little bit more about each division as we get into the show.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's the way to support us. We appreciate that. Dat Chat, social media. Head on over to Dat Chat. It's available on both Google the Google Store and iTunes, whatever the fucking store you get the apps,
The stuff on
that you'll find it. Go look for it. It's a cool social media platform. They support us. We support them. We're in business with those guys. And thank you for that. The barbecue. Bring up that flyer, that beautiful flyer. June the 26th at 1:00 in Merrill Park. There is some buzz around this flyer because the Woodbridge Police Department now all have it. So there's a lot of those guys coming by. They're checking it out. Harris shared it out yesterday. He'll be coming by. And, we're excited about it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some booze, some vendors, some, music, good times. Had we been allowed to do a live band, I would have 1,000% said, like, let's hit the 3rd of July. Sean Basinger, LaCory, all those guys. I don't think they're allowing bands.
I don't know. Maybe because we have the Woodbridge Police Department in our corner, we might be able to bend a couple of the rules. I don't think that would be one of them, though, because there's probably like Merrill Park Little League games going on, and that's what I would imagine.
It's not like they're going out there playing like gangster rap. They're just playing like cover songs.
You got to hear your code. You can't have a live band in the middle of Merrill Park at Grove 2.
Like they're trying to
gonna work.
Still like send
I'm not
signs
sure
in.
if they still have a blind horse over there. Is the blind horse
and he's
gone?
like Jesse.
Do you remember the horse, Rosie?
Huh?
Do you remember the horse at Merrill Park?
I don't fucking
They used to have like a little petting zoo there. I wonder if it's still there. I haven't been there in a while.
No.
Kyle, we're gonna address this because we actually talked to the Woodbridge High School.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was just gonna say this is addressed.
Not the same.
Not the same, bro. Check out the point in the middle of the W.
So
so
for clarification, depending on which logo Kyle is looking at right now, as I feel a bead of sweat drip down my rib cage, depending on what logo Kyle is looking at right now,
you nervous?
There used to be an issue.
Yes.
Wisconsin contacted Woodbridge, school board and said, you got to change the logo on Woodbridge High School's logo because it was the exact replica of Wisconsin, and they've had to change it and go through a whole process.
I don't
the threat of being sued.
I don't mind. I don't mean to be the not the humanitarian or the person that likes the animals, but Rosie, she was blind according to Scoop.
I know that. And then
Casey
horse.
comes in. Brian Casey comes in and says, "Katie dead."
Yeah, Katie didn't make it.
Wait, there was two?
No, I think I just was saying Rosie, or Scoop was saying Rosie. It was Katie, and my niece used to feed the horse carrots, but you couldn't play loud music because it was a blind horse.
Hold on a second.
Like 15 feet away from Grove 2.
Off the rails early.
I'm from Keensburg, obviously. We have horses, but they're not actual horses. They're people with no teeth.
Or big teeth.
Jesus Christ.
Or fake teeth.
Oh, you guys had that banging boardwalk, by the way. I grew up on that boardwalk.
A cool boardwalk until after.
It was never really a boardwalk. It was like a street walk. It was never
like
actual.
a carnival, but like on the
a longer one.
Yeah.
And then,
dude, there was my brother will love this. There was a wheel game where it was 1 or 2, meaning like it was a 50% chance you were going to win. So basically, you went down to the Keensburg Boardwalk and put out like $10, and you'd win a frame poster because no matter what, you were going to win.
The picture stand.
Yeah. They make my brother's he'll love this. Even my father will love this. I had a choice of getting anything I wanted. Like there was posters of all the, Jordan and whoever.
It was pretty cool, actually.
I decided to buy, I technically won a Shawn Michaels frame poster. The problem is, it wasn't just like your average Shawn Michaels like doing his pose thing, right? It was him just like sitting like this
in the corner with
right,
the belt.
Like this with like his shirt off.
Nice.
Like his shirt off.
So we're gonna have to recreate that, Dave. Pop the shirt off. God damn it! You should have popped your shirt off.
I can't do that. Can't do that for the masses.
$1 for anybody that gets that
back
reference.
to the horse. So they just have a horse running around the park?
No, it was like a little petting zoo, and it was a little blind horse that was in a stable, and you get to walk by the fence, and you could feed the horse.
They had something like that in Piscataway too.
They had a bunch of chickens
on River Road.
It was a blind horse. They just left in a barn.
They didn't just leave. It wasn't like fending for itself. They had a park ranger that would feed the horse and take care of it. It was tended to.
Oh my God.
It was just a little petting zoo inside a park.
Shout out to the water park, Scoop.
I've never been there, ever.
Dude.
Not once.
There was one time, me and my best friend Tommy, we went on one of those doublers where you're like sitting, one in front of the other. And it's
Are you going to recreate this for us
tube?
Too?
Shut up. The tube, like it's the dark one. So like you can't see
inside.
So you're in it. And we're rocking back and forth. And I'm like, dude, stop rocking. He goes, I'm not rocking. I'm like, no, you're rocking, bro. Stop. Like, next thing you know, we hit one turn. We go completely upside down. And my mother is waiting for us at the bottom of this thing. And out comes one of us. Two of us went in. One of us came out. And they're like, where's Dave? And like all of a sudden I come out like this. Oh, just like I hit my head, bro.
Where's
that place
my
was
Shawn Michaels poster.
It's in my room somewhere, still to this day. Oh man,
I found $5 in the touch tunnel.
Speaking of touch tunnel, wow,
Liberty
this is a
Science Center.
sports show. Remember? Speaking of touch tunnel,
It's getting so
I had,
weird.
you know what I had? I had LA Gear sneakers that you just every time
Oh,
you step, the lights were on. So people were following me through the touch tunnel because they were following my sneakers.
Bro, it's dark in
Yeah.
there.
I mean, it's the fucking touch tunnel. that's the whole point. You're supposed to. Speaking of blind, like you're supposed to be like you're blind. You're touch tunneling.
Don't we have like hockey or something to talk about, guys? What the fuck is going on? Touch tunnel. Dave.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody
Can we
enjoyed
grill
that.
at the barbecue?
Huh?
I know we can't grill at Yankee Stadium. Can
Yeah, we
grill
can
at the
grill.
barbecue?
You could grill at the barbecue. I don't know if we're allowed to bring grills, but touching back on that, I know I wanted to say this. I said it a little bit yesterday, but we're providing beer and food, right? So you don't have to
Kegs.
worry about bringing anything. But in the event that you have some famous recipe of pasta salad,
Yes,
or
of
you want to,
course.
or you would like to volunteer and help out, volunteer and bring a dish, by all means, we are not turning you down. It is not a requirement. But if you are going to do that, we ask that you put that in the email and in at least one of the 3 places that we offer for you to sign up.
Yeah, I'm just a little distracted. I do want to give a shout out to somebody who's watching the show right now. We aren't bringing on any guests at the moment, Isaiah. I see you, bro. I saw your L'Oreal t-shirt. I see you're out there, bro. We'll talk to you soon, man. We'll bring you on in a little bit.
I wonder if he's trying to drop some news that 2K18 is now discontinued and they do not make it for what is it?
Switch.
The
Shut the hell up, bro. They're not
So
supposed to
we're
know.
gonna
I'm going to
have
send
to-
him another 2K18.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to figure that
Brand
out.
new. Oh my
Send him over
goodness.
a catalog.
Yo, so the the Yankees, they get it done. They beat Baltimore. I think I'll wet my pants on that one. But the bigger story, the Nestor Cortez stuff. I know that unfortunately this came out. Little news there. Obviously, he sent out some tweets when he was 17 years old. So it was 10 years ago, right? He's 27 right now.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if everybody out there watching or listening right now could say that they agree with everything they ever said ever. Like, but this is a simple case of that, I think. There's been
Well,
things I said in 2011
Just to
that wouldn't
elaborate,
fly in
we
2022.
all have Facebook memories, and if you check yours, I'm sure there's some stuff in there that you wish you hadn't said at one point or another. That said, this particular case is, I feel like it's a wash because it wasn't sent out derogatory towards anybody. He was a 17-year-old kid. I don't know.
You said it was like lyrics, right?
Yeah, he was just quoting.
Nice.
He was quoting rap lyrics, and obviously there was some disparaging words in there, but they weren't. There was no ill intent behind them. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was like talking about how good the song was and relating that to his self at the moment. But obviously, he's 17. You do some wild stuff when you're 17.
So he deleted Twitter.
At least this
over
is
it.
the-
he
the
deleted
story that
Twitter
I
over
read.
So
this.
TMZ has like his tweets up
So
right
Rob is-
now.
Oh, no.
shooting me
there-
down. I'm trying to
bro. There's
trying to
like
gloss
1,
over the
2,
Yankees.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like at least 22 where he's like, me and my boy, my N-word, blah blah blah, going out, blah blah blah. There's maybe one.
Nestor
thing
Cortez.
but
He's
a bunch
Spanish,
of them.
right? Isn't that like a rite of passage?
I know. I mean, like, does he get the hood pass?
He
I
gets
don't
the
know
hood
where-
pass. No,
where- listen,
I can't
me
say it, but I think
personally,
he can.
from especially from everyone knows my background where I've been, anywhere I've been, as long as you're Spanish, Puerto Rican, anything,
You can do
that's
that.
always been okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
that's what I thought.
Which, so I guess, but you get it. It's out in public.
It's not
now.
a good
yes,
thing
the
now.
unwritten rules of
It's
the
not a good
streets.
thing now.
But it
He's-
is,
You're
though.
right. No, I'm
It's
not.
not a good thing now. He's 27.
Yes.
He's
It's a
not
bad
trying to
look.
portray
And he,
that look.
like I said,
It is what it
he
is.
washed his
He
entire,
didn't delete the Twitter account. He
suspended it, and now he's going to
deactivated
clean it
so
up.
he could clean it up
Right.
without anything else popping
But
up.
this is what happens when he played in the league last year, right? At the end of the year. But this is what happens when you are on
Spotlight.
When you're up, when the spotlight's
Yeah,
on, when
man.
you're doing
New
good.
York, baby.
And haters will go back from 2013 and found this stuff. It's a shame to do that to certain people.
Yeah,
It
it
is what
sucks.
it is. Nestor, 8 Ks, 8 innings, 1 hit. Next start, please. Thank you. Even though I'm facing him, I really don't care.
Oh, he's going to be lights out, as always. The Mets got rained out yesterday, I believe, before the rain even hit the ground. They literally called for that game to even be over before, like, they were just looking at the radar and said, like, no go. But in Mets news, Rob, you brought it up when you got here. For the first time since 1994, the New York Metropolitans are putting on an Old Timers Day in August.
Yeah.
Solid effort, by the way. August is brutal
August
to go
27th.
sit in a baseball game all day long at like 12 o'clock, start the game at 4. That's going to be
I mean,
Horrible.
it's brutal. It's just another classic case of the Yankees or the Mets trying to copycat what the Yankees have been
Yep.
doing. Look,
It's not a copycat. They would have done if they wanted the copycat. They would have stayed with it.
Well,
They had it.
It's back now. And I don't know if there's any correlation to maybe the new ownership thought it would be a good thing.
I mean, he's the one who brought back the black jerseys.
Or just seeing the success of how it works out on the other side of town. Even though, to me, I feel like Old Timers Day, I've gone to a few and it's brutal.
And let's say
I've gotten burned. Like I was in the bleachers. Bro.
My one question is, I know that they released some of the names that are on the roster. Is Bobby Bonilla going to come back and earn some of this money that they've been paying him for the last 30 years? Because if there's one guy that's an old timer, that's probably still kind of a fucking Met.
Bro, wait, Rob,
got to be Bobby Bonilla.
Did you not tell me that Cespedes is on this roster?
You're on a Cespedes, Pedro
Bro,
Martinez.
first of all, isn't he still under contract? Like
Daniel Murphy,
I guess he never latched on with another team. His career is over. But like Robin Ventura,
Murphy played for the Nats. I think he won a ring.
Right, his career's over though. I don't think he's playing anymore.
Latch on with another team after the Mets.
Bartolo Colon is on there.
I would pay
Billy Wagner
just to see Bartolo go nuts.
You could probably ask Bartolo Colon to come be a ringer in your softball game. This dude just loves.
Just ask Jesse, Evan's brother-in-law.
Speaking of softball game, I know we didn't talk about this, but did you see? There's a video out there. Josh Allen in a celebrity softball game hit like a 600.
Oh yeah, God, bro,
really? Wow, Josh Allen's that dude, huh?
Case in point, when I say that these athletes, they could play any. Some of them could do whatever they want.
Shot.
Chris Payne coming in. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Watch Greg Jeffries and Al Leiter play 98 August Heat. As I said, it's not to me. It doesn't sound too exciting, you know.
So
if I'm the Yankees, I'm changing that shit to May too, bro.
Are they gonna have Gooden, Cone,
Strawberry?
Those names.
What's this guy come out of the booth?
Those Keith names Hernandez. Haven't been. Even that name hasn't been announced yet. But supposedly there's like 50 names that they have. The big names are Pedro. The names we just said, like those.
So
guys.
no real fucking
Pedro
Mets.
Martinez.
No, not yet. They haven't announced them. But
I mean, there's some real Mets. I shouldn't say that.
The Mets are in first place right now, so everyone's gonna come out and be like, "Oh, well, remember I was a Met."
Will they be in first place in August?
You don't know.
They got a pretty sturdy lead right now.
No, I know they're
the Mets
5.5
are in a good
games.
spot.
Listen, I think the Mets, like I said, I don't think they're going to fall from grace anytime soon. I think they got a nice
it's
little lineup.
It's going to be tough the Mets aren't going to have extended losing streaks because their pitching is too good. Every fifth day you get max. So
yeah, Keith and Doc and Daryl, they'll all get there as long as they bring their special doctor to the stadium as well. So that's the Mets. But anyway, so tonight we have game one of the series, but we will be previewing both of the NBA Conference Championship Series today because, again, you won't be here tomorrow to pick the game. So, I mean, you can always send me in your picks or whatever, or call live from where you are. You could do that too. Satan's asshole, otherwise known as the DMV.
Yeah, no,
anyway,
I'm not calling in.
I'm kidding, obviously. I mean, only I call in from Walt Disney World to try to get back on the show. But anyway, the Boston Celtics tonight, Miami Heat tonight. We preview that. Game one goes down tonight. The Heat are -2 at home to start this series. Now, there's a lot to dive into as far as this series is concerned. And I think for one, we're getting a phenomenal one. I really do think that these two teams are very, very evenly matched. They only played each other 3 times in the season this year in 2021-22. The Celtics won 2 of 3 of them. And not only did they win, they blew the doors off them. So that's something to think about. Just some extra storylines to think about is, Tatum did work against a guy like Giannis, but, how's he going to do against a guy like Jimmy Buckets? You know what I mean? Like these are situations that I think Tatum comes and rises to the occasion. You know what I mean? Like we'll get into it. Let's see. There's a lot, man. Oh, this stat was nuts. Ready for this? Boston made 53 more threes than the Bucks last series, and the team in the NBA that's given the highest 3 percentage, Miami Heat. Yeah, so that's something to keep your eye on as well. Spoelstra came out, said it's a very old school series where it's 2 defensive teams.
Yeah, I think maybe the Miami Heat, I guess they've given up a lot of points by 3, and that was the disaster for Milwaukee, their perimeter defense. I don't know. I don't see this as a thing as Miami being a liability on defense in any regard. I think they could kind of turn it up and adjust the way they're going to play defensively.
Well, both teams play really good defense.
Coach. Of course they do. But I just don't see Miami's perimeter defense being an issue in a 7-game series. I do think they're going to struggle to stop both Tatum and Brown because Jimmy Butler is a great defender, but he's going to be asked to do a lot on both sides of the floor. And now he's not by himself, that's for sure. But in terms of having 2 guys that are similar in terms of a wing, Jimmy Butler's going to have his hands full in this series. They have the Celtics that are favored to win the series, even though they're, I guess,
got
the
them
lower
at-
seed. It
looks
doesn't
like
really matter.
minus 185.
Minus 185, but they're getting 2 points on the road. I would imagine they're going to be getting points in every game that they're on the road.
All the
this
visitors,
series.
all the away teams will be getting points.
Yeah, so
that's the assumption.
So it's a weird thing to me, and I know that it doesn't always add up because like handicapping math doesn't always add up. But if you're looking at it and you have the Heat that are favored to win all 4 of the games that they have scheduled to play at home, and the Celtics are favored to win the series, only having 3 home games, something doesn't add up. I think it's going to go 7. I think that it's up in the air. I'm going to have to pick the Heat because Spoelstra is my guy, and I hate the city of Boston. But I'm going to be honest. It's tough for me to go against that duo right now, and just everything that the Celtics are doing,
Butler
wise.
Butler averaging 28.7 points a game in the playoffs. Tatum 28.3. Talk about evenly matched as far as the 2 superstars in this game in this series. Very, like I said, old school feel, defensive teams. So you're taking the Heat
I'm going
in
to take
7.
the Heat in 7.
All right. Well, we got Scoop coming in saying he picked the Celtics. Mike and Vinny on his podcast picked the Heat. So no game or in how many games you got to pick over there, Rob? Where do you think you're going with this?
Listen, you know how I feel about Spoelstra, but I'm a big Jimmy Buckets guy. For me, the thing in this series is the Celtics are they switch off ball screens the most of anybody so far in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
and the Heat are like 3rd ranked of like last teams left. So it's going to be whoever takes advantage of that the most. If they can keep Jimmy Butler away from the basket and off the free throw line, I think they win this series hands down, not even close. But then you look at depth as well. So who do you think has the deeper bench? I know
Hero or whatever, 6th man of the year.
But you look
Hero or Hero?
Hero. When he's off the floor, they score more.
Sorry.
When he's off the floor, they do score more.
Yeah.
The Celtics have Grant Williams, Robert Grant or whatever, and then the other guy that's coming off injury too. Their bench is a little deeper than them, and they also play more than the Heat play their bench.
Okay.
So I'm going with the Celtics
In
5.
Whoa, Celtics in 5 over here. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm here to tell you that despite the fact that I'm with Gooch as far as saying I hate and loathe the city of Boston, I think they're just playing really good basketball, man. And who am I rooting for? I'm rooting for the Heat. I like Jimmy Butler. He has quickly become one of my favorite players in the league. But give me Boston in 7. I think this one's going to go 7 games, and I think obviously Boston's going to have to pick one off in that last game, right? The home field is with the Heat. Mm-hmm. So I think in that last game, Boston's going to have to go into Miami and get it done. And I think they do. Tatum has been playing on a level where he's being in the conversation of top 5 guys in the league right now. So, but obviously Butler is in that conversation as well. Not top 5, but like he's in the conversation of being a very good superstar in this series. I think Tatum's been good. And I really do think the perimeter shooting is really a big deal. And I see that the Heat will play defense well underneath, but they give a lot of opportunities. Yeah. And guys like the Celtics who have been chucking them up from pretty much anywhere they feel like, they're going to drain some. So I'm going Boston Celtics in 7.
So I think I read a stat yesterday. There was 74 Eastern Conference finals in history.
74? That's
74. It? They could have been called something different earlier.
But wait a minute. That
sounds 75 years ago.
I was just 74.
It's the 75th this year.
74 right. Years of Eastern Conference championships, and the Celtics have played in 37 of them, which is exactly half. That's absurd.
That's amazing.
That number is crazy.
That's amazing.
They played in, I think, a total of 24 game 7s.
They got a guy,
or
Larry Bird.
That.
I forgot about
it. And now I bring this up because they came out last week with the new awards that they were going to give out for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. In this case, it being the Larry Bird Award. You guys both have the Celtics winning. So
I got Tatum.
The first inaugural Larry Bird Award you think is going to go to Tatum, and I would imagine you think the same thing. Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Can't be.
Yeah, it'd be right? One of those two. Yeah.
I guarantee there's nice little odds on Jaylen Brown to win MVP. Plus money, obviously, but like over Tatum.
I would say they're probably all plus money.
I know. When it comes to bets like this, they're all plus money, but
he might be
maybe a nice little payout.
He might be like 3rd, because he's a 2nd star on the Celtics. Tatum would be 1st, and you probably go Butler. 2nd.
So who's winning the MVP for the Miami Heat? Who's winning the Larry Bird Award? Jimmy Buckets?
Jimmy Butler.
Okay. I'm with it.
All right.
Listen,
and you guys go with Tatum.
Rooting for the Heat.
That's the deal.
let that be known. I'm rooting for the Heat. I do not like Boston.
We'll talk about this next game, though.
Yeah, well, obviously, tomorrow night, the next series gets down and dirty, and that is the Golden State Warriors taking on the Dallas Mavericks. The Warriors are going to be favored tomorrow by 4.5. Obviously, me and Scoop can make the pick tomorrow, but in reality, this series, I didn't get the odds for this series, but I want to assume the Warriors are the favorite to win.
I have the odds for the whole thing. So Golden State's plus 150 to win the finals. So they're clearly the favorite in this series, and the Mavericks are plus 600, and they're all the way at 4th. So right now you have technically, as far as Vegas is concerned, the 1 against the 4 that's remaining.
In Vegas odds,
Vegas odds. Right now it's Golden State plus 150, Boston plus 200, Miami plus 425, and Dallas plus 600. So if you want to throw $50 on your boy Luka, you could win 3, Dave.
I might do that. But yeah, that's the story. Luka has been in absolute God mode. They went into Phoenix. They finished the job off in 7. They're obviously riding high right now. They go back on the road. It's been him and the Brunson show. As far as, look, Golden State, the story writes itself. You got your Steph Currys of the world, fine. But you also have Draymond Green playing very well. You also have the return of Klay Thompson, because you look at this, and they played 4 games. Green didn't play in 3 of them. Klay didn't play in 2 of them. So now the Mavericks are getting a full squad and a full dish of the Warriors, and that's where I think the problem is. For now, if God willing something happens.
These guys are banged up, and there's reasons why they're missing games.
God forbid something happens. I don't say God willing. I don't want anything to happen. So the Warriors, the thing is with the Warriors is they push the pace. They're a fast team. The Mavericks like to slow shit down. Jason Kidd has been on an absolute tear yesterday, or this whole playoffs, as far as rallying the troops and getting everybody ready to go. And that, like I said, that coaching clip that I showed you yesterday, it made me an absolute fan of his coaching style. It feels like he's the 6th man on the court. But if I had to look at this one, look, I'm rooting for Dallas. I've been pulling for Dallas in the West the entire time. I think their story has been incredible. But now I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, if they get down 8 to 10 late, like, is Luka going to be able to not only score, but then prevent, all of these guys from scoring points down the stretch? I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't see it, unfortunately. And I'm taking the Warriors in 7 because I think that every home team is going to win a game again. That's where I think this was going to play. Every home team wins the games. The Dallas Mavericks have been very, very good at home. But when they go on the road, and look, yes, did they just completely starch the Suns? Sure did. It's a different beast. It's a different beast when you got to come from behind and Steph gets hot and all of a sudden you're down 15 before you blink.
In this case, look, Luka hero ball in the last series. Well, He did have some help, obviously, because you can't go in and beat the 1 seed without a little bit of help, but he had more points than Booker. He had more assists than Chris Paul. He had more rebounds than DeAndre Ayton, and he had more steals than Mikal Bridges. You're going into this series, and you have not just 4 good players across from you. You have 4 potential stars. Jordan Poole, we're talking about potential odds to win an MVP in the conference. Jordan Poole, I want to know what his odds are. They're probably plus 1,000, plus 1,100.
Draymond's plus 1,100. So
you ready for this though? Before we keep going on, Tatum is actually minus 120 to win the MVP over there. So you said no minus.
Crazy. I didn't think there would be.
I don't think so either.
So he won it basically, is what they're telling us. Tatum won the Eastern Conference.
By the way,
Finals
Tatum wins MVP. Spoiler alert.
This is a legacy. I wouldn't say a legacy defining game because I think the Warriors' legacy for the trio is largely intact, right? But if they lose this game to Luka, it'll be a very similar situation to how they treated LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Bosh losing to the Mavs years back when it was just Dirk, because it was Dirk and then supporting cast that was good, but they were any stretch. Very similar to this Mavericks team with Luka. If he could go in there and
Brunson's been all right.
Say it again.
Brunson's been good.
Yeah, same thing was like Josh Howard was really good for that team. There was other good players for that. Jason Kidd was on that team. Right,
Jason Terry was on that team.
Jason Terry. They had some good players, but it was by no stretch of the imagination supposed to beat the Miami Heat in that series. So if Luka goes in there and dismantles Golden State after doing what he just did to Phoenix, defending champ, we're talking about, you could already make the case that Luka's top 3 in the game. But I think if he does that, I don't know that he slays the Celtics, but it would be really interesting to see if Luka go do that, where he ranks in terms of the public.
I'll say this. If the Dallas Mavericks can go out there and steal game 1, then this whole conversation is different.
Well, of course, yeah.
When you steal one on the road, and we'll talk about that tomorrow when the Rangers actually start their series, they got to go on the road. When you go on the road and you steal one of the two in the first, there's a different dynamic.
Yeah,
man.
well, when you're a 7-game series and you split the first two, you steal home court because now there's
Correct.
5
No,
games
no,
left.
I
and
understand.
3 of
I
them
just
are
feel
in
like
yours. So of course it shifts.
Yeah, it's just
And
momentum.
Dallas is
is
just very good at home. So if they could steal a game, then now there's some mounting pressure on Golden State. But look, even if Golden State drops a home to the Celtics,
Okay.
I'm not sure who else it was, but
Okay.
I know.
Who,
it was,
so
Spoelstra should have got.
where are you going with this?
I'm going Golden State. I
And-
like Dallas 6.
Golden State and 6. Who's your MVP? Is it gonna be Steph?
Jordan Poole.
Oh wow. Okay, you're going just out of the limb. I'm just gonna say that Steph does not win MVP in this. I think Klay does. I think you talk about a comeback story of a lifetime. The first ever Magic Johnson MVP award goes to the guy who one of the craziest comebacks of all time, and that's Klay Thompson.
I think he might be ended up missing time though. I think Klay is not healthy.
We'll see. What do you got, Rob?
So for me, this series comes down to a bunch of things. The Mavs lead right now in the postseason with time of possession. Luka individually leads that overall like 10. I think it's like 10 minutes a game. The Mavs as a team, it's like 22 minutes a game. So what's basketball, like 48 minutes,
Mhm.
I think. So that's like almost half the game that they have the ball in their hand. So if Luka can keep doing what he's doing, first series he averaged 29 points. Now he's got 32 points the next series. Now he's facing these guys, and these guys are hitting threes, especially all three of them.
So
No Iguodala last series. He's coming back this series, probably game 2. So they have a lot of people that can guard Luka the whole time.
Correct.
Whether it's Klay, Iguodala, Draymond, or they switched who's the little guy? They have a little guy too. Oh, Wiggins. Wiggins is another guy they can put on him.
yeah, and look, Golden State has a bunch of different ways to beat you. They could slow it down,
Mhm.
half court set, and let Draymond run like the point forward at the top of the key, much like Sacramento did with Weber back in the day. Or they could just run you out of the gym,
Yeah.
that's a little bit older or a little bit of a younger version of the Golden State
Mhm.
team that we're seeing now. But they do have those guys. They have Jordan Poole, who's
Yeah.
they do have a Wiggins, and Steph Curry could still dial it up when he needs to.
Of course.
Draymond Green,
Just stop chewing on your
Great-
fucking mouthpiece.
oh,
you dork.
whatever, irrelevant to me. I just think it's going to be a lot. The time of possession is a factor because the best way to beat a Golden State team that's
slow 'em
just down to shoot every chance they get
It's like keeping
is to slow it down.
it's
and
like
run the
keeping
half-court
Rodgers on the
game.
sidelines.
Yep, slow
But
it
if
That's
down.
the way you beat the
you
Packers.
have to
you
be
know what I
real
mean?
careful with the basketball. They're going to be throwing crazy traps at Luka, try and force some turnovers and some easy points. It could get away from Dallas quick because I think they need to play the half-court game
Yep.
to even contend in this series.
So who
because
you got?
Golden State's is really good.
I'm gonna take the Warriors in 6. I
Okay.
think
So all three of us in
Luka
lockstep
can't keep
here.
up. Luka won't be able to keep up with them. It's how much more can this guy do by himself?
If for whatever reason, I'm telling you right now, I'll go on record to say this. If for whatever reason Dallas Mavericks take this too, and they go to the championship, and just say they win the title, this will be the one of the greatest
Postseason.
single-handed runs of any player in history. Like, because you look at that team, and yes, they have
Dirk. If you look what Dirk did that year when he beat the Heat, they beat the Spurs, they beat the Lakers, they beat everybody.
Well, I said one of.
Yeah, I'm just
No,
saying,
I'm not
but it's
saying
very
he's the
similar. It's like
best.
a very comparable situation. You've been getting the Luka and Dirk comparisons since he entered the league because they were teammates, and it's like the European influence, et cetera, et cetera. It looks like it's lining up to potentially be something similar to that,
I'm worried about that second, et cetera.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Is this a movie?
That's a Saved by the Bell reference.
Oh.
Anyway, all right. So those are our picks. Before we get into anything else, I do want to get the opinion of one Isaiah. Isaiah, I know you've been paying attention this entire time. You've been patient with us. So I'm going to bring you on. You're going to make some picks, bro. You're going to tell us who's going to win both of these games. So Isaiah, welcome back to the show, pal.
I'm back with the school computer.
On a school computer. So you're using the school property to tune into our show. I warn you here, we're not like a children's show by any stretch. So if these schools sees you searching us, you might get in a little trouble. So just be careful. Just be careful.
I think you'll be all right. So real quick, bud, we're gonna need you to pick out a different game.
Yeah, pick out a different Nintendo Switch game because apparently WWE 2K18 stopped there. There's no more 2K18. Like there's no more WWE 2K on Switch. So
I
figure
don't
it
have
out.
my
Email
Nintendo
me.
Switch. I don't
Say
have
what?
my game.
What was that?
He said he already has the game.
Oh, all right.
I don't have it. I don't have my game.
Oh, you don't
Oh,
have
you
your-
don't have your game.
Okay. So anyway, so who do you got? The Warriors or the Mavericks?
I like Warriors. It's my
You
favorite.
like the
team.
You like the Warriors?
Yep.
Sounds good to me. Heat and Celtics. Who do you like there?
Celtics.
Okay. All right. You're in lockstep with us, bro. So we want to thank you, bro, for chiming in. And now you're giving your expertise opinion. And hopefully, again, you picked the Celtics. We picked the Celtics over here. This guy picked the Heat. So we'll see if your picks are right. All right.
Yes.
All right, buddy. Have a good day, buddy.
Bye.
Later. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. Anyway, you know who's not going to have to worry about any of his financial stuff because he's probably still home, not worrying about any of that stuff. He's not worried about his financial money in retirement because he's too young for that. Because he's got Fusco if he does need anything. Stop worrying, start planning. A comprehensive retirement plan gives you security and greater control over your money. Michael Fusco can help. As president of the Fusco Insurance Agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry less now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. That's 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. I do have to say one thing before you get into your nuts and talking about the nuts. My brother the other day said he was in Mattawan, and my godson Danny is decked out in his shop sports stuff. And I forget where they were, either dinner or somewhere. And somebody looked at Danny, little Danny, and said, "Oh, Chop Sports. I know those guys. And my brother was like, "Well, that's my brother's company." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I know your brother." You're probably never in a million years going to guess who it was, but let's just say they're linked to Chop Sports heavily.
My father?
No, it was Craig from Absolute Eyewear getting involved here. So go check out Absolute Eyewear as they're about to add Oakley. Go check those guys out. You mentioned Chop Sports, you get $100 off. And it's so funny because my dad made fun of me after he heard about the story. And then he said that he's like, "Yeah, I know you guys." And then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, you're located on Main Street, right next to the train station." He was basically going over my read and my commercial. Yes, I know.
Now, I thought you were still talking about the other incident where Craig met your brother.
Oh, no, I'm all over the place now.
Talking about.
But anyway, hit me with some Manscaped.
All right, so spring has sprung. It is officially swamp ass season. So if you want to give your ladies a nice butt crack snack, or you're just looking to add a few inches, all you got to do is head on over to manscaped.com and you go use the promo code CHOPSPORTS. You receive 20% off the Ultra Smooth package. They also have the Performance package. They got a bunch of different bundles you could choose from, but in particular, this Ultra Smooth package comes equipped with a crop exfoliator, some crop gel. You get a bunch of replacement blades that go over your crop shaver 2.0. So what you do is you use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. You trim down all your disgusting pubic hairs, get them really close to the skin, and then you bust out that nubby little razor that Dave saw in the bathroom this morning.
I did see that.
And
kind of worries me.
And it just cleans things up for you. You don't got to deal with the dirty ass taint jungle. You don't have to deal with the dark underbelly of man. And the ladies get their nice tasty butt crack snack without that extra treats that they didn't ask for. And I'm talking about dingleberries.
Oh
we like strawberries over here. No dingleberries, and definitely not the chocolate covered variety.
Gracious.
So head on over to manscaped.com, use the promo code CHOPSPORTS, and you receive 20% off and free shipping worldwide.
Worldwide. All right. Anyway, got to talk about this because it has gone down in at least Officer Mike Harris's history has said that this is one of his favorite segments of all time. The time that we talked a little bit about a man named Deshaun Watson. And now Deshaun Watson will finally be getting his day in court with the NFL. He's going to be meeting with Roger Goodell and whoever else meets in those kinds of meetings. But now, do you think, Gooch, that there is a suspension coming officially? When all things considered, I'm not saying if or why or how.
So we could clarify things. I never not thought a suspension was coming. I do think, and now since the contract was signed the way it was, it kind of indicates that they gave Deshaun Watson a bunch of weird deals in his first year because of the pending suspension.
Well,
so
they gave him a less salary hit.
Hit in year one.
But
so
like
he misses
$800 trillion.
When he misses his game checks, he's only going to lose out on like a combined $1 million as opposed to $40 million that he would miss if he missed a whole season. So I think the NFL is going to factor that into their suspension because he did sit out last year. And I made the point that because he sat out, much like the proceedings with a real court case, if you are waiting trial and you're sitting in jail during trial, you might, in that case, you get time served. In the case of the NFL, it's a little bit different because he was paid. So while he missed time, he was still paid. So there could be a hefty fine.
The hell of a jail to sit in when you're getting paid.
And there could be a shred of, if they suspend him for a full season and I'm his agent and I'm the Players Association rep, I'm going and being like, well, he sat out a year. Let's figure this out. He sat out a year. I understand, Dave.
What the NFL is going to say to that, if I'm Roger, I'm going to be like, well, we didn't sit him out. The Texans
What
sat him out.
What I think that they might do here is say, okay, so it's 2 years. You had your year served.
Retro.
Now you can sit out a year, but it's not going to be a full year.
No.
That would be very damning to the Browns situation.
Or will it? Because Mr. Baker Mayfield's still chilling.
Because we'll get into that in a moment. But right now, what we have Deshaun Watson doing is what you would want the starting quarterback to do. He's in the Bahamas, I believe, right, with all the skill players, and I think it's on his dime because he made a lot of money to do nothing last year. So you have Deshaun Watson working out with all the players, and he probably bought them a nice resort. My question is he paying for the massages? Is Deshaun Watson like, he got these guys at a resort to go train, and he's like, guys, I got these masseuses.
Oh,
they came with me from Texas, and you got to be careful because they might take you to court.
There's you can't. No way.
No, I'm kidding. Deshaun Watson obviously isn't supplying the Cleveland Browns skill position players with dirty hand jobs.
Anyway, it's just also Jumping Bones on Baby Day is here, and he's just dropping in and saying, "What's up, chip heads? Chop heads. All right, well, whatever." I kind of like chip heads because, you try to maybe sound shitheads. But anyway, so this suspension is coming. It's been documented on when it's going to happen. And again, you said it already, reiterated the fact that the contract signed by Watson was
my guess is
completely
he misses
in
10
favor of Deshaun Watson. What'd you say?
10 games. Is he going to miss? He's going to miss 10 games this year. That's my prediction. I don't know how it's going to come about.
Listen, I keep going back to the same thing, and I think that the NFL has finally come to realize that they may have made a mistake with the Ezekiel Elliott thing. Like, I can't keep going back to that and say, well,
it's like
Zeke got suspended for 6.
Exactly.
They fucked that up.
If you fuck something up, and like it was clear as day that the NFL kind of botched that whole thing, they can't be like, well, we botched that one, so every other situation that has the same precedent, we have to keep botching because we botched that one. It's like sometimes you could look at a situation and be like, we messed that up. We got to do better next time. And then the next guy that's in that position, Zeke fell on the sword and he had to suffer, no doubt about it. But
now,
that doesn't mean the NFL should
suffered.
keep on doing the wrong thing to every guy that they wrong. It just
I understand what you're saying, that they can't keep giving out suspensions.
I'm not comparing the situations at all.
We can't. It's totally different situations. And if some of this, there's no way that all of this is not
just
true.
to be clear,
it was a bad look for the NFL.
Just to be clear on what the exact situation that we're talking about in terms of the NFL doing it one way and then maybe changing precedent is that there was no criminal charges filed, but they still suspended Zeke. There's no criminal charges. That's the parallel here.
Yes, but in all their contracts, you can look this up. It's not about if you get criminal charges.
I know. If
you
it's about detrimental.
They're
if you do something detrimental to the shield,
yes.
To the shield.
So that's basically opens up judge, jury, and executioner. You don't have a set of guidelines because you could set the parameters in real time in a situation by situation basis. But what happens in those cases is eventually you run into things just like the courts do, and you have precedent.
Yes.
So now they have precedent on a situation. Now you have to look at that situation and be like, okay, the precedent is, the parallels are that neither guy was charged and the NFL still suspended Zeke. They're going to still suspend Deshaun Watson. That's the parallel. The things that aren't the parallel and why you have to kind of treat them kind of separately is because the allegations are much heavier towards Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
So while Zeke, he fucked up, whatever it was, you could say, oh, he's drunk.
Wrong place, wrong time, whatever.
He made a bad choice in that moment. He didn't make a bad choice several times for several years.
Yes.
Collectively.
And didn't pay.
I think the whole thing
wasn't paying
is
for
like,
so
I think
you
the
have
whole
to
thing
separate it that way.
100%. Scoop coming in saying 6 games for Watson. That's for me, after the whole sit out a year thing, 6 games to me would be the minimum that he should get. Minimum. You want to give him a season? That's a little crazy.
Whatever it is.
You think if he gets 6 games, it's going to be shaved down?
I think what's going to happen is
he'll appeal it.
They're going to go into this. No, if they're smart and they want to get this whole situation, because the NFL wants this done too.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, look, we're going to suspend you for 2 years, or 1 if you don't appeal it, or 6 games. We're going to suspend you for 10 games, or 6 if you don't appeal it. So it's just like they're going to have this deal set in place, much like they probably did with Hopkins. We're like, look, we want to get this fuck over with.
Well,
gonna
that's a
lose.
rule, though. Suspension on the substance abuse, that's in there.
No, but you could appeal.
There's no,
but you could appeal it. But what happens?
but he wouldn't because
what
he knew he was
happens when
fucked
you
up.
appeal it is if you don't want all your shit public, don't appeal it, because then the NFL is going to have to be forced to show exactly.
Here we go.
what
We're
they
going to
have.
start digging now. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Deshaun Watson, in the Hopkins case, he's probably just like, yeah, I did it. I want to lie and act like I didn't, but I don't want to appeal it because then all the truth is going to come out that I actually did.
So if he gets 6-10, and it comes out next week that he gets 6-10, what do the Browns do?
They got Baker. And you said before he's got all this guaranteed money.
If I'm Baker,
So then he's chilling.
If I'm Baker, I got what did Ben Simmons have? He had surgery on his anxiety.
He had a backiotomy.
Right. So I'm gonna pull a Ben Simmons if I'm Baker, and I wouldn't even fault Baker in this situation. His teammates don't want him there. Clearly,
He don't want to
right?
be there.
He don't want to be
Well-
there. The front office doesn't want him there. They tried to trade him. Nobody else wants him there.
The day before they traded for Deshaun Watson, they tried to trade for him the day before, and Watson specifically told them he didn't want to play there. So they went to Baker Mayfield and were like, "You're our guy. You're our guy."
Which is bullshit.
Then the next day they trade for him. That was on Pat. That's what Ian Rappaport reported
Yeah, no,
yesterday
I
on
listen,
McAfee.
I get
So,
that, but
I don't blame Baker.
Of
but
course not, because you cannot do that. That's like I keep saying
The
that
reason
Jalen
why
Hurts
they did it though,
guys like Jalen Hurts is going to be has stunted his growth because of all the times you're like, well, this quarterback's available. We might make a play for him. No, we're not going to make a play. Jalen, you're our guy.
Me and
you know,
Dave
and they did
disagree
that like 3
wholeheartedly
times.
on this theory.
Because
I
you should
think
be
that
ready.
if you're a 20th best quarterback and you're working your way up, and the team has a chance, you have to understand that the business side of things, that's a business. In Baker Mayfield's case, the reason why if I'm Baker, I'm out is because nobody wants me, like I said, and I have a hard time walking into a locker room right now being paid all that money, right? When I could just say, no, I'm not going to do it. You guys don't want me. I'm going to take this paycheck and keep it moving. I just don't see any
But do you
I mean, he's
get
got to
back into
report.
the
He's got to
league?
go.
Yeah. And you have a headache.
He's got to practice.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what they said. That's what Ian Rappaport said. Basically, he's like, if so far, if nothing happens, like in the next month, and they all go into June for voluntary workouts or whatever, things that Baker's supposed to be at, that he thinks that the GM and Baker will come up to like a discussion, like, listen, let's just your hamstring or your ankle, just waste it so he's not in the building. You don't want to be here. We don't need you to be here.
That's so dumb.
But then if you
God
do that,
damn, that's so bad.
if you do
It is
that,
bad 'cause it makes
So
Baker
bad.
look bad.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I think
Dude.
it makes him look bad where? In the court of public opinion,
Yes.
possibly?
No,
Yes.
to every other team that wanted to ever take a
because-
chance on him.
because
I
I
think
think
they know.
Because I think
yeah.
executives know the deal where it's like,
Yes.
all right, Baker's not really hurt. They're just doing this. I think executives would actually appreciate that and prefer it because they know that they already know Baker's not going to get any better with 2 months of the Browns.
I'll tell you
You
right
know what I
now.
mean? They want him to not get hurt if they're going to inherit his contract and his.
I'll tell you right now, Baker Mayfield will be a Brown unless cut. There's no trade.
Yeah,
There's no
doubt
way
about it.
he goes anywhere else outside of Cleveland unless he is cut and then becomes a free agent and OBJ's his way to a place like the Rams or something like that. Like that's the way he does it because right now the Browns know that this suspension's coming, whether it be 2, 4, 6, 10 games. They need, if they want to compete, Baker Mayfield is the way to compete. And I know he ain't good and you don't like
Who
him
did
and a
they
lot of
bring
guys
in?
don't
Who
like
did
him.
they bring in as
But
their
they're-
backup? Didn't they just bring in a backup
I'm
too?
gonna look. To be
I
honest.
think they brought in somebody else as well in the event they finally unleash.
Remember, they just got
Baker.
Amari Cooper. And they
Yeah,
paid
bro.
him some
Baker's
You
bull.
can't, they can't
Baker's
add all
gone.
this talent and then pretend like they have no solve when Watson goes down with suspension.
Baker is
games
not
is a
the
lot.
solve. Baker's
10
not
games is the whole season.
Baker's
basically. That's half a
Baker's
year.
not the solve to me. I don't think it's
But
worth
here's
it.
the thing: Baker is the solve because he's in the building and he's being paid anyway. So what the hell are you gonna do with him? You can't. What are you gonna do? Trade away and then go get a Brian Hoyer and be like, "Hey, man, do the best you can. We got Watson out for 10 games, but when you come back, we're gonna be 3-7."
They bought in Jacoby Brissett. Now,
I think put it this way. I don't think Baker Mayfield is even a top 32 quarterback. I think he's borderline top 32. I think he's a career backup guy. He's just going to learn.
You
how
are
to-
right in the. You're just closing the book on Baker, huh?
better
I
than
think he's
Sam
a bitch.
Darnold.
I think he's a bitch because he goes boo-hoo.
Let's just-
Do you really think that
Better
he's
than Sam
not?
Darnold.
Do you think he's
I
really
think-
not
I
a
think
starter in this
Drew
league
Lock-
anymore?
I think that you don't know enough about Sam Darnold or Drew Lock yet. I think that we saw Baker with one of the most talented teams around him. Great defense, great offense, and he fizzled out both seasons. I know that he played through some injuries, and I give him credit for that. But you had OBJ, you had Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Landry. You had like 4 tight ends at the time.
David
They had Hooper,
Njoku.
You know,
I love it.
Njoku.
have
Everybody
a
was
point.
talking about the weapons. Then you look at the other side of the ball and how great that defense was. I guess you could make the case that he didn't really have a bona fide head coach or coordinator. Fine, right? But that's the case for a lot of these young quarterbacks. To me, what I've seen out of Baker is he's very injury prone. He's not a good teammate. His teammates don't like him. He's not a good leader. He's arrogant for no reason because he's not good in the NFL.
It's because he's rich.
I think he's overpaid. And guys in the locker room, when they start looking around at the roster and they're like, yo, we're stacked. What's the problem? And they're all looking at this jerk off doing some stupid dance where nobody even likes. Nobody likes it. It's like him and Jackson Mahomes. He's like the Jackson Mahomes. So I think that's why Baker's done. Nobody went to his birthday party.
To Bailey, Bo Callahan. To Bailey's point. Now, what if Baker goes out there and he is the backup and he goes out there and balls the hell out? The only thing I could say about that is if he does well with all these new weapons and shiny new toys, that's only helping Cleveland dish
It's not
him.
going to matter.
No, that's helping Cleveland.
I mean, it's not going to matter
to dish
for
him off and
Baker.
get a second rounder or
Yeah.
some shit if all of a sudden he goes absolutely
Deshaun
batshit
Watson
nuts.
is the starter.
No shit. I'm not saying for the suspended.
There's
I
a
know.
zero. There's like
They need a quarterback.
There is no situation in my brain where I could see Baker Mayfield suiting up for the Browns again on a Sunday and taking snaps. There's no situation that I could see it because I think if he does go out and ball out, they could trade him. But like if it's till week 10, are they going to trade him at week 6?
So here's a hypothetical.
Yeah, but
Are they going to trade him week 6?
Hold on. Here's a hypothetical.
well, knowing they
deadline.
only have a couple more, yeah.
Deshaun Watson gets
Goes 5-1,
six
trade your
gets
quarterback.
6 to 10. They don't cut Baker. They're like, you know what? You're getting this money. We're not cutting you. You're sitting here. Week 1 comes. He's suspended.
Baker Mayfield's your starting quarterback.
No, but does
Without
Baker
question.
play? Because he's saying if I'm Baker, I don't play. I'm out. I'm out.
Then you
But
don't.
week
Then you don't
one-
get paid.
I
Exactly.
agree.
That's a bad look.
I agree wholeheartedly with what both of these guys are saying too. Kyle Kerm's coming in and saying, I don't get why everyone is so big on Watson. Dude went 4-12 in his last season starting. Davis Mills came in and put up the exact same record with a worse team. 4-12,
Fair.
4-12.
Very fair.
Fair. And actually probably it was a worse team because they unloaded
They didn't have
everybody.
Hopkins. They didn't
last
have
year.
anybody.
And then we have Joe LaCourey coming in and saying, what has he done? And he's talking about Baker. He doesn't deserve to be pissed about any of this. If he won, they would never look to Watson. He doesn't win games or help fantasy teams.
but he did. He
Spook
took him
him.
to the playoffs.
Yeah, but did he?
Playoff.
What do you mean,
Or-
did he?
because
Look at that division.
he definitely
the Pittsburgh
did. He
Steelers,
definitely
the
did.
They
Ravens.
made the playoffs. I agree. But was it Baker that carried them to the
I'm
playoffs,
not
or
saying
was
he
it?
carried,
Did
but
he
was the
hand the ball off a
quarterback of
ton in their
team.
But
defense
sometimes
did.
when you look at these teams, it doesn't matter. Like as long as you got there, that's the guy that's behind center.
Well,
that's the
well,
guy
if
that's
I'm-
there.
If I'm building a team and I'm looking at situations and how I could improve, because my objective isn't to, with a team like that, with the roster that they had 2 years ago, just to get to the playoffs and get bounced 1 year and one game. My objective is to advance, and I don't think Baker Mayfield is the guy to do it. I think the deeper you go into the season with Baker, the more full of himself he gets, and like it's just more of a risk. I just can't get behind it. And it touches on the point of what you were saying. It's like it stunts their growth of these guys. I think these guys need to step the fuck up and grow up a little bit and understand, like, I am playing like, bottom half quarterback. If you're on the bottom half of the league and you're 17th best, then you're clearly on the bottom percentile, right? So
Yeah.
there's if you're a GM, if you're the defensive end on the team, right? And you have a quarterback that went to the playoffs, but you're looking at why you didn't win the Super Bowl and it's the quarterback. I'm not like, we got to keep this guy. You might be like the players on a team. They want change.
Nobody's ever
going
going to say that, though. Nobody's ever going to come
Nobody's
out
going
and
to
say
say
that.
it, but it doesn't mean that they're
There's
not
no like
talking about it.
players' court. You
They're
know what I
not
mean?
talking
Like,
about. They're not. But you don't think they talk about it in the locker room? And if you're a good GM, you got to know what your players want.
you
and the
better
leaders,
button
you
that
gotta
shit
talk to
up
these
because
people.
right now, as it stands, right now on the
Baker-
depth chart, the day that Watson gets suspended, the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback will be Baker Mayfield. That's where we're at. That's where we're
wonder.
at. That's
I
where we're
wonder,
at.
right? I wonder what the depth chart is going to look like. They
I-
might have Brissett there. and
to be
Baker
honest
a
with
big
you-
red cross for no reason.
Cut the grass. He has to go.
So
someone's gotta
anyway,
cut the
we
lawn.
got to get
Yeah.
touch on one more thing before we get out of here because we did write this stuff up and we wanted to definitely use it. So there was an NFL.com article that dropped this morning about teams that are likely to repeat as division champions based off of what they've done in the offseason. And again, it's May, right? I got my email today saying my archaic league is ready for renewal. So we're starting to get those emails already. Fantasy football, believe it or not, is actually in the works. But now we look at both conferences. So Gooch, the question to you and the question to the people watching, they are your 2021 division winners. Obviously, the Cowboys won the East, the Packers won the North, the Bucks won the South, and the Rams won the West. Gooch, who is the most likely team out of these teams to repeat as division champions?
Probably the Cowboys based on their division, and I would say second Packers based on their division.
I said Packers based on their division. I didn't put the Cowboys up there because Lord knows what the hell's going to happen at that season.
I'm not really.
The Packers are probably like the
I'm not
most
buying
likely
in completely on what Philly's been able to do this offseason. Now, they did try to improve, and I give them that, but I just got to see the sum of all parts work.
Okay.
I'm not sure A.J. Brown's all that great, and I'm a fan of his, but I just think that he might be a little overpaid and a a little bit overrated.
All right.
Tampa Bay, I do think that
Kyle,
there
man,
was a
loving
good
those
chance
Vikings.
that I think there was a good chance that the Saints would have won that division last year if Jameis never got hurt. They were playing like up and down football for the first 6 weeks. And in the game that Jameis went down, I believe they did beat the Bucs with Trevor Siemian coming in as the backup in the second half, and they ended up winning that game. So the Saints made some improvements. They got a decent fucking draft. They got Olave. Yeah. Now they just signed Jarvis Landry. They got Tyrann Matthew. So since the draft,
Michael
the Saints
Thomas
have done the
back.
most in the league with the least amount of money.
So I flipped the coin. Who's least likely to repeat? Do you think the Bucs actually have a chance to go head to head with the Saints? Because
I think the Bucs,
Kyle's coming in saying the Bucs got the easiest division right now.
The Bucs do have the easiest division out of.
I don't know about
that. We have to see. I think that the Saints are a dark horse. I think Atlanta sucks. And who's the other team in that division? The Panthers. They're not going to win many games.
With the Commanders.
I'm not so sure that the Vikings, because the Vikings seemingly are that sexy pick every year to dethrone the Packers. They've done it like once every 10 years. So the Vikings.
I don't listen.
You can say
as
they're
long
good
as Cousins is your quarterback. I'm not
a believer.
I don't think that.
And is there a new head coach in Minnesota now?
Yes, it's the kid. It's the kid from the Rams.
So we got to find out about him. We'll see.
The Rams? Yeah, probably the Rams. So my least likely, it's all good. My least likely division repeater. When I'm looking at this, I think LA does their thing. I guess it's Cowboys. If I had to take a chance of saying the least likely division winner here to repeat, now just so you know, historically, the NFC East has not had a back-to-back NFC East champion since like 2003. Mm-hmm. So it's been like 18 years since anybody's went back-to-back. Do I think the Cowboys are the best team in that division? 100%. I do. I think the Eagles take the next step. I think the Giants are going to be a little better. I think the Washington Commanders are going to be okay until Wentz goes down, and then Sam Howell.
Where do you think the wild cards are going to come from? Right, I think the West. I think the Rams clearly.
I guess the Vikings have a shot to be
the NFC West is clearly the better division. The Rams and the 49ers. I'm not so sure about Seattle anymore. Obviously, they got no quarterback over there. But Arizona's another one. They started off real hot. I'm not a believer in Kyler.
Kyle, listen, bro.
So the NFC is going to go chalk the same exact way.
Right. Sometimes I feel like Kyle just, he needs to do this for his own psyche as being a Cowboys fan. He thinks the Cowboys are going to struggle to get above 500. Kyle, just do me a favor. Go look at their schedule. It is cupcake compared to a lot of other schedules. And the teams that consistently come in, meaning like they got like the Bears and the Lions back-to-back weeks, and then they got the Jags and the Texans back-to-back weeks. They can string some wins together. There's no shot in hell. I don't know what I would put on the line here, but if the Cowboys finish under 500, I would be blown away.
So
completely blown away.
You think wild card is San Francisco and maybe the Vikings?
I don't even know. San Fran, it's like
there's three now.
Are we going with Jimmy G? I guess that's the thing.
I would say if I was picking, I would say these four teams are I wouldn't say locks to make the postseason because anything could happen.
Yeah.
But I would say these four teams look like solid bets for the postseason. And then you could say Minnesota, the Saints, and San Fran. You could throw Philly in the mix, and maybe even Washington. They get Chase Young back, and
I can't believe
Carson fucking Wentz is the quarterback.
I can't believe think Dallas is going to repeat. As I think Dallas for sure is the best.
Look, the odds, Vegas, everybody, they're all picking the Cowboys to repeat. Don't get me wrong. I agree with the fact that if you look, I'm giving you four teams here, right? LA is going to run the West, right? Green Bay, I don't care what anybody says about the Vikings, they're going to run the North.
Of course.
The Bucs have the Saints in competition, and even if they split, the Bucs are going to run over some teams still with Brady, right? With the Cowboys in that division, it's like they all beat the shit out of each other the entire year, and it's going to be closer than what people think. That's why I think they're the least likely.
I could just think like the Giants to me didn't do anything.
I mean, they had a decent draft,
I guess.
And Daniel Jones is still your quarterback.
The Giants are doing things that's gearing them towards the future success, not necessarily 2022 success.
Correct.
The Eagles, I don't believe in Jalen Hurts.
I don't either. But again, everybody else does.
I like Jalen Hurts more than most people do, but that doesn't mean that I think Jalen Hurts is the guy.
No,
You know,
I
just
get
think
that.
I like him for my fantasy team.
I don't believe in their defense. I think they have some weapons on offense. They do. I just think the Cowboys run away with that division. They stay
Listen,
healthy.
your
Like,
words
easy.
to God's ears, my friend.
Easy.
So,
I just really do.
moving on over to the AFC. Here are your AFC division champions. Obviously, the Bengals win the South. The North. The Titans win the South. And, of course, the Buffalo Bills win the East. And the Kansas City Chiefs run the West. So, Gooch, the most likely team to repeat as division winners
It's
is
clearly Buffalo, and I think that's the only team that is going to repeat as division winner.
whoa. Okay. I mean, it's May, so we'll talk in July, August.
I mean,
South.
I think, I know that people are going to trash me for this, and
Colts?
I said it to you. The Colts, I think, are clearly the favorites.
Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in
Yeah.
football.
I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
they're clearly the favorites, and I know that this is going to come off as crazy, but I really do think that there is a sneaky team in Jacksonville this year.
Oh my God.
Just saying it now.
So
Wow.
from the number one overall pick to a
I don't think they're
playoff
going to win a
team,
division. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are in a better position than you think they might be. If you
Scoop's
look at
already
up and
your
down,
friend. Like,
you
you
could look
don't
up and-
need
I don't give a
this.
fuck about Scoop. I'm talking about, going out on a limb. And when you're doing this type of shit, it's like we could sit here and say Buffalo is going to be good. The Chiefs are going to be good. We all know that. I'm trying to go out on a limb here and say that I think that the Jaguars are going to be a better team than people give them credit for. It all comes down to one guy, the same way I talk about the Jets.
Doug Peterson.
Well, Doug Peterson is clearly going to run the football and allow Trevor Lawrence to kind of find himself a little bit more than douchebag Urban Meyer was doing. So, yes, but it comes down to Trevor Lawrence. We forget how this guy was touted as the greatest quarterback prospect since Andrew
Agreed.
Luck. He's playing quarterback in Jacksonville. If he takes another step, I know Christian Kirk gets paid way too much money, but they did make some moves to alleviate some of the pressure on the outside for him. Christian Kirk, if you talk to executives around the league, way too much money, but also very, very respected player and what he brings to the table. If he was in a different situation, he might have gotten more targets. That said, he's going to get his ton of targets now. We're not going to talk about the Jaguars. They're not winning their division, but don't be surprised because
AJ with a sneaky bet the Jaguars to make the playoffs. I guarantee that. Those odds are
probably
nice.
a nice odds, yeah. But I could tell you this: the Titans are on their way down, right? Derrick Henry is one more year older. Now he has that.
I mean, they just
injury.
drafted their quarterback of the future.
Now he has that injury that everybody has been kind of saying is imminent. That's going to happen with all these carries. He has it. Now he has the time that he's missed. He has the 400 carries a game for the last 3 years.
A.J. Brown
carries a
left.
season. AJ Brown is gone.
Let's talk about their new wide
And then
receiver.
we were talking about Treylon Burks, who they made a bunch of moves to move up and get, and he looks like Kelvin Benjamin, but only worse. right?
He did 4 reps and was dying. You didn't see the tape?
I saw the tape.
Oh
I saw
my!
it. Yeah,
so I'm not so sure
we'll
that
see
there's-
about that.
Now it's early, and we could sit here and bash him and say, look, it's as long as he's ready for the season, that's fine. And there was a couple people chiming in on the comments when I posted that. But out of my first round pick that I just made a huge investment to go get, it's rookie camp, bro. You know it. You were just drafted 2 weeks ago. Like, how are you not fucking ready for this? I don't want to hear the season. Your day one impression means a
Maybe
lot.
Did you hear
maybe
Mike
he's a
Vrabel
tight
said?
end.
Mike Vrabel was like, well, these guys, they think they're in shape because, they're with these guys. But, when they got here, it's a little different. I'm like, dude,
No, he ran.
my man did 4 reps.
He didn't even do a full shuttle run.
And he was bent over. Like, no, bro. He should. No, absolutely. They traded up for you. And when they traded him, remember, we're sitting there looking. I'm like, wow, he's the same size as AJ Brown, but he's 2 inches taller, or his reach was 2 inches. So I'm like, they basically got the same guy, but younger. No, they did not get the same guy.
So if I had to look at these 4 division winners, you think Buffalo is going to be the team to repeat? I look back at this and I say I agree with that, but not a runaway by any stretch. And again, I'm not trying to put the not the hex or the jinx on the Jets, but I think that the Jets are going to have much like your Jaguars pick of a sneaky good team. I think the Jets are going to have a sneaky good team. And I think, again, it's up to Zach Wilson. If he takes the next step, this team could be lethal.
Those
If
first
this
t-
Put
gets
it this
first
way,
8
bro.
games are tough.
Every year we go into the NFL season and we're talking about teams. Last year we both picked the Bengals to come in 4th in their division. They won it. There's you just don't know.
No, of course
we didn't
not.
know Burrow coming off the injury, and everybody was bashing the Jamar Chase pick, saying they should have taken offensive
couldn't
line.
catch the ball in preseason.
Couldn't catch the ball.
Remember
Preseason,
that?
He had 1 drop all year.
Yeah.
1 drop all year, if that. Honestly, so
I
there's
think
going to be some teams that aren't good
who's
this year that are really good next.
the least likely of these teams to repeat?
The Chiefs
I would say
or the Titans. No, the Titans.
Titans. You're taking the Titans to be the
How about
least
this?
likely team.
I think none of the 3 teams besides the Bills are going to win their division.
Yeah, you said that. Okay,
So-
that makes sense. All right, I'm looking at this, and I know this is going to sound crazy, But don't be surprised if, I bash him all the time, and that's Lamar Jackson. I bash Lamar a lot, but the Ravens are always relatively good. J.K. Dobbins coming back. The coaching's always good. They make a nice they put it together a good season, right? Then you got the Steelers as this dark horse team all of a sudden what is that offense going to look like under a new quarterback, right? And we're talking about Mitch Trubisky first.
I think it's going to be a very similar offense because neither of them could throw.
Well, that Kenny Pickett could be called up within the first 4 weeks of the year. We don't know. And of course, you look at that division and it's back-ended by the Cleveland Browns, who, again, we don't know how many times. Yep. I think the Bengals are going to have themselves a rough go at it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not going to win the division.
Super Bowl hangover. There's a lot of expectations now going into it. Joe Burrow is probably the most targeted player by a defender in the league.
You might have, boy, Toast is coming and saying Chase led the league in drops. I find that very hard to believe.
I don't believe that.
But in any event, looking at this again, Bills most likely. Kansas City is going into that AFC West, boy, and that is a juggernaut of a division. I think the Raiders. I talked to my buddy Mark the other day, and I said for the first time, maybe ever, remember, there's 7 playoff teams, and there's 3 wild cards.
Rob, are you looking up at drops? Good.
7 playoff teams, 3 wild cards. Don't be surprised if the entire AFC West makes the playoffs. That can happen.
Yeah.
The entire division make the playoffs.
It won't.
So,
it's hard because they have to play each other, So
correct,
there is.
Toast is right, according to Kyle, so he looked it up. But in any event, which is very surprising because it was something that wasn't brought up all year.
There was a thing. I remember it was like week 8. This is what I'm basing my opinion on, or it's not even matter. It does not.
Tied for first is Keenan Allen.
So what I saw last year was like there was a problem with his drops, so that bumped him down fantasy radar. Like I had Jamar Chase ranked
right,
really
and then
high.
by week 7 when he's doing 75-yard touchdowns, nobody talked about his drops.
Maybe I just misinterpreted. Thank you, Toast and Kyle, for making me look like a douche.
Actually,
I made myself look
9
like
drops.
A douche.
9 drops. Him and Keenan Allen both tied for first.
It's not a lot. I mean,
no, it's a lot.
How about 3rd and 4th is DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, same team.
It's all Sam Darnold's fault, right? So, in any event, this is going to be a fun off season as we get into rookie mini camps.
I don't know if he's got mad, but don't believe me, that's fine.
He does that. He gets angry. Anyway, so I don't even know if it's anger. It's probably just like these guys. They like to be right. You know what I mean? Like when they're right, and then when they're right, they'll tell you. Over and over and over again. Oh, God. Love the NWO. Too sweet me, guys. So anyway, that has been a show. NFL offseason is underway. Obviously, the draft's gone. The free agency is still going. I mean, look, what's this guy? Melvin Ingram signed with the Dolphins, yesterday?
Yeah.
So people are still making moves. They're still acquiring talent. So we're almost there. I know it's crazy to say that in May, but before you know, it's going to be like the 4th of July, and we're going to be drafting teams and shit.
It's football season when you're standing online at Walgreens and you look over to your left and you see Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes,
and the fantasy books are out already.
Fantasy football magazines out, and we're ready to ride on that.
All right, this has been a show. Enjoy the NBA game, singular, tonight. Obviously, the NHL playoffs continue. The Rangers play tomorrow. We'll get more into that with my biggest Rangers supporter. That's Scoop. He'll let me know if he's coming in a little bit. Outside of that, it'll be me and Rob. It's so funny. I look over there, and it's a nice day, and I'm the first one that will tell you, or first one that will wear a tank at work because I don't care. But like I considered him Dom of the Entourage, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's the one line from Ari. He needs sleeves. If you're going to come on tomorrow, he needs sleeves. So for Sturch and Gooch, thanks to Rob again for producing the show. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. Please be sure to like the video. Do us that solid, okay? That helps us out. I can't ever come up with the word that I want to use.
Tremendously.
There you go. Why not? Tremendously. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the network. We appreciate you. Download all the podcasts. We're going to try to revamp that a little bit. Some new episodes are going down today. Jimmy Palumbo drops tomorrow. We got a whole bunch of the Squeaky Bum Time guys. Soccer, still a thing because soccer doesn't have an off season apparently. Do you ever notice that? There's soccer all year round.
Dave, there's 2,191 professional soccer clubs.
So somebody's got to play, right?
That is a joke because I made up that number, but it's close. I read something the other day, and the problems with soccer, and that being one of them, there's way too many fucking teams.
That's why I can't get into it.
Leagues.
That's why I can't get into soccer because there's like fucking Euro League, and then there's United League, and then I'm making this shit up.
I can't get into soccer
league,
because it's fucking
league.
boring.
Oh, you're gonna piss some people off. All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Boring.